In this video, we are going to use Stack Overflow developer survey results data. And if you Google that particular term, Stack Overflow survey, your results might look like this. And if you click on, say, 2025, if you click on it, it is 2024. This is the analysis they do after completing the survey. Now, I think the 2025 survey is ongoing. They're conducting that. And if you look at that particular web page, you can see these are the various questions they'll ask you. There are 5 different sets they'll ask you. Probably every year the pattern might change, but this is almost the similar way they conduct the survey. Anybody can take the survey. Like, these are pretty easy questions. So already they have done that for 2024. I think for 2025 it's ongoing. So you can go to any prior years, you can look at the view survey results, or you can download the data. So all those questions and answers are given to us. So we can, based on our needs, we can go and pick any year. So for example, if I click on view survey results 2024, this is the analysis which they have done on the data. And as you can see, these are the number of quotas from 185 countries and assets, right? So this is something which I thought real world data. So what we could do is we can download this data and try to replicate that particular whatever visuals which are there on the page, right? If you download the data will be, you can store it in any other local file. And once you're ready, we can just go back and look at briefly what is the survey is all about, right? So these are the various visuals. They have used a tab, and for different kind of categories they have those visuals, right? So what we could do is we can just focus on few visuals in this video. And maybe once, if time permits, at a future date, we can always create other visuals too. So for now, let us try to go back and try to maybe kind of replicate these visuals. Like I said, these are the various tabs they have, and each and every tab they have different visuals. So probably I thought I'll pick these 5 visuals and try to replicate them using Power BI desktop. So as like I said, we could just go ahead and try to download the data. Once that downloaded data is there, we can use Power BI desktop and load it and do some transformations if needed. Otherwise, we just load it and look at the data first. So we'll try to use Power BI desktop and load the data, and you can just go to get data. And since it's a text to CSV, we can use that option, that connector, text CSV. This is a file. There are 2 files, but we'll pick the first one, the survey results public CSV. It's a pretty large file, so it takes a while for it to be loaded into Power BI desktop. This is the navigator. So we have those options: load, transform, cancel. But we'll try to transform the data so that we'll go into Power BI, Power Query Editor window. So here we are in Power Query Editor window. So in case if needed, we can always make all those changes, right? So based on our needs, we can do all the transformations. So quickly, what we could do is we can go to few columns, and as you can see, there are 114 columns there. So we can quickly go to some columns and see what could be done, right? So we can split the column, we can extract whatever strings which we want, and as such, right? As you can see, these are the various columns: learn code online, and etc. So there is a very there are many columns, right? It's pretty easy for us to pick and choose based on our research questions. We can try to target a particular column. Like for example, we are in this main branch column, so you can see all those positions are there. Different options they're given in the survey. So we can pick, for example, we go to country, click on the drop down button. We can see those are the various countries, and languages work with. So as you can see, there is a separator, so we can use a split column functionality too. There is semicolon, so we can split them into different columns or rows based on our needs. So we can do that. Like for example, you can go to a particular column, you can choose a particular column, you can keep and remove certain columns. So it's a pretty large data set. So in real world, we have that option of picking and choosing what columns we want to be shown in our data model. So you can pick any, you can search for this column here. For example, you want to keep one column, you want to remove another column, you can do all those things, right? It's a pretty simple way to look up the columns, because as I said, 114 14 columns, so pretty large data set. So we can pick and choose. As I said, this semicolon, for example, languages have worked with. You can search here. Say for example, I'm searching for JavaScript. Those highlighted rows are shown, so filtered rows. So as you can see on the right side, applied steps, filtered rows is also there. So you can always give another option where you can add a text filter too. So for example, you can say, hey, contains JavaScript. You can type it here and look for that particular search term, right? So that is also there. So whenever you're trying to do all these things in Power Query, all the applied steps on the right side. So we don't want to do that, so we'll delete that step. So based on our needs, we can look for whatever columns we want and focus on them. We can unpivot certain columns, we can keep them, and or we can like I said, we can split column by delimiter. For example, we can say that, hey, I want to split by semicolon, right? As you can see in the column values, there is a semicolon, so we can do that and click OK. Many columns are appearing here, right? So it's split by that particular delimiter, and you can see there are about 31 columns, I think, total. So this particular column, languages work with, is been split into another 31 columns. So you can remove certain columns, you can keep them, or like I said, you can add them as columns, or probably in case if you want a long format, you can always add them as rows. So all these things can be done, but in this video we are not going to focus on those things, right? So we can group by also, like shown here. So based on your needs, you can do all those things. So those options are available for us. So you can, like I said, you can unpivot that particular column. You have attribute and value. So those things can be done. You can split columns and as such. So for now, we are not going to do any of those things. So we are just going to keep it simple. So we wanted to handle a real world data. So we can just close and apply. We're not doing any transformations. Once we do that, we are in Power BI desktop, so it takes a little bit time for it to be loaded into the model. So we have those, I think it's about 160 MB, so 65,000 odd rows have been loaded. So as shown here, so if we go to table view, these are the various columns, like what we have seen in Power Query editor window. See, if we had made any transformations, those would have appeared here, but we did not make any transformations. We just wanted to look at the data. Like I said, we could always do the same kind of filtering here to look at the data. So for example, here we can say that, hey, if this contains JavaScript, show me only those rows. So additionally, you can see that there are 37,492 rows which have JavaScript. So that particular column has that string value. Let us try to bring the calculator. Now let us try to use maybe use this particular value, 37,492 divided by the total number of rows are 65,437 will give you 57. As a percentage, multiply by 100, we get 57.29. Remember, we have seen the data in our Stack Overflow developer survey results. So let us try to look for it. Let me type it again, 2024 survey. And if you click on that particular link, these are the various visuals which they have shown. So some of the values might match because they might have used some filters. So most of the values might be similar to what they have. So here in our case, we have 57.29 JavaScript, but they have got 62.3. So it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, we have a lot of NAs here, so I don't know underlying what kind of filters they have used, but we will try to replicate those visuals. That is the whole idea. So I would like to keep all the measures separately. So I will create a separate table for it as shown here. And once you do that, we have a separate table. Let us try to create a few measures. So the first measure will be, we want to count the number of coders. So we can use the count rows function. IntelliSense will give you all those options. So let us try to use the count rows. We'll pass the table here, close the parentheses and commit to it, and format it for the 1000 separators. So your first measure is ready. It's pretty easy, right? So we can select that, drag it onto the canvas and go to format section, and in the value we can change that into none, so that you have that 65,437, right? So this number is matching up. So like I said, some of the numbers might not match. It will be closely, it will be the close to the values which Stack Overflow analysis page shows, right? That is the whole idea. So we can insert a text box here. So as shown in the web page, it's a little bit different. So we wanted to do the same thing here too. So we can drag this here, but we don't want to do that. So what we could do is instead, by inserting the text box here, we can use the value, right? This option, so dynamic value, we can ask a question here. So we can say that, hey, number of quotas, that is a measure which is already there, which we have created. So it will show you that part. So it takes a little bit time for it to analyze your data model. So I'm just typing it again. So we have the number of quotas, save it. So that number is there, right, dynamically. So we want that to be dynamic. So in case if you're trying to apply any kind of slicers in this report page, those numbers also will change. So we have that option. So instead of hard coding and putting the total value there, we have used the text box and added value. So we don't need the column here in the measures table. So we are ready. Now there is something else in that particular visual. So there is quotas from 185 countries. So I think we might have to create another measure. So we can just paste it here, copy paste here, but I just wanted that number of countries to be dynamic. So let me resize it. So instead of 185, let us try to create another measure for the number of countries. So we already have seen that there is a country column. So what we could do is we can create a new measure. And let me type in number of countries equal to, we can use distinct count function, and over that particular column, country column, close the parentheses, and also commit to it. Once we commit, we have the number of countries. I think if we drag it onto the canvas, I have 186. In their case, it is 185. So I'm not sure the difference, why the difference, but we'll just move along. We just wanted to make sure that we have almost the same values. And instead of 185 here, we can always add another value here. So again, search for that particular measure here. So it will pick it up, and dynamically these values will change based on the slices, in case if you have any slices in this report page. Let me rename it, and you have your number of quotas from 186 countries, right? This looks good. This is the first visual which we wanted to replicate. So we can just go to format section, add those visual borders and color. Let me pick this color, and we have the first visual ready, right? It's a quick way. We can just use any kind of real world data. Only thing is we have to work on knowing the data, more about the data. So another measure is here, another visual. So we wanted to replicate that, and we can just try to create another measure here. So like our whole idea is we just wanted to replicate whatever those 5 visuals, right? So this is the technology, and they said JavaScript, have used JavaScript. So what we could do is we can just go click on measures table, right click, create a new measure. Let me resize this. Let me name that as percentage JavaScript. So that is what we wanted, right? Is equal to, let us try to create variables. So let us try to create first variable underscore JS equal to, let us try to use the calculate function. For the first parameter, let us try to add the number of quotas, which already we have created that measure earlier. So for the filter expression, we will use a filter over our main table, which is survey results public. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to pick that particular column, right? So what we could do is we can use the contain string option, that particular function, contain string function, which says, hey, give me whatever we wanted to check, right? This is within the text. So we wanted to use this particular language have used, right? Let us increase the size, language have worked with. So we wanted to go into that particular column and look for this particular text. That is exactly the contain string function will do. It will go into each and every row, and it will see if there is JavaScript in that particular row, and if it is, then it will bring it over here. So let us try to close the parenthesis for the filter, and let us close the parenthesis for the calculate function. So I think this is a pretty simple variable, and we have calculated the number of quotas whenever JavaScript has been in that particular languages have worked with. So in the return, we can use the divide function, and for the numerator, we can use the JS underscore JS. That's a variable. and for the denominator, number of quarters. It's a pretty simple measure, so that we will get JavaScript. I'm not adding any complexity here. I'm not trying to look for NAs and as such. So the numbers might differ from the Stack Overflow web page, but we will try to make sure that it is almost similar to those values. So if you drag on to the canvas, we are getting 57.29. That is exactly what we got when we looked at the table view too. So the values are different here. Like I said, they might have used different kind of filters, and they might have eliminated a lot of other rows too. So let us try to go to that particular column, and let us try to see. As you can see, there are a lot of NAs also here. So let me just make sure that I say, hey, search for NA and select them. As you can see in the bottom, there is 5,692 NA value. So that means when the survey has been conducted and somebody who is taking the survey, they have not answered that particular question. So it makes sense, right? So our values are different, but our main aim is to try to handle and try to take in real world data and try to create certain visuals, right? So that is we have done. And the another visual here is we wanted to see respondent shared salary information, right? 48,019. So let us try to go to, there are two columns here. So I'm not sure what they have used, but there is something called as, prior to that, what we could do is we can maybe look for that another visual. So we can say that, hey, if you have SO account or not, that's a question which has been posed to the respondents. So once we use this table view and look it up, we have those values. So what we could do is before we create another measure, let us try to create this simple measure. So we say, hey, have a SO account. So that is another visual, right? So we will create this measure. We will create a variable first. We will say that have account. So that is a question, right? They're asking respondents if they have a Stack Overflow account or not. So let us try to use calculate function for the expression number of quotas. And for the filter, what we could do is we can use this particular column and say that, hey, if in this particular column, step into this column and look, we'll use the in option, and here we'll say, hey, if this particular column has these two values, right? Yes, not sure, can't remember. If these two values are there, then give me those rows. That is exactly what we are trying to tell Power BI. So what happens is once we are using this particular calculate function, it will return only those rows when those matching rows, right? So in the return, we will use the divide function, numerator have account, and the denominator number of quotas. It's a pretty simple measure. So let me try to make sure that I format it, and we use the calculate function and filter out those required rows, commit to it, and convert that into a percentage. So we have those that percentage ready. So have a SO account, right? If you scroll down further, this is what we wanted. So this is another visual. So I just wanted to make sure that we replicate all those visuals. So next is we will try to look for respondents shared salary information. So this is what we could do is we can always go back and create a measure. So we say that, hey, like I said, there are two columns in our table. One is currency and another thing is compensation total converted. So what we could do is initially we will try to use calculate function, and for the new expression is number of quotas, and for the filter we can use anything which is not NA. So if the currency is not there, I'm assuming that they have not given salary information. So this is one way of calculating that particular value. So once we drag onto it, it is about 47K. So let us try to go back and change the value here to none in the format section, 46,684. But the values are different. Like I said, I'm not sure what kind of column they have used. Like let us try to go back to the table view so that you will better understand what I'm saying. Like I said, there are a couple of columns. One is the currency, and let me just scroll. Again, these are like 114 columns, so it is a little bit tough for us to look for that column which we want to. In this case, let me just go scroll slowly and see. And we have column in the end, converted comp yearly. So like you see, as shown here, there are a lot of NAs also. People have not chose not to answer that question or maybe given random numbers. So we could use this column. Otherwise, what we have used in our measure is the currency. So as you can see, if you look up, there are NAs in the table. So if you look for NA, obviously this will not give you the correct value. So there are NAs. So what we have done is we have removed those NAs in our measure, and that's how we have calculated that particular value. So the value is different a little bit, but we are close to that value, right? Again, like I said, Stack Overflow might have used some other filters. They might have eliminated certain values which they didn't want to use for the visual. So, but this is, we are almost chugging along. So we have created 4 visuals, so pretty good. We will clean it up. Don't worry. We'll clean it up the report page. We'll make sure that it looks good. And finally, we have to create this particular visual. So there are a couple of things which we need to look for here. So we need a country, obviously, right? So in our table, we have a country column. So we will just use that. So what we could do is we can create a new measure. We can say that percentage of countries equal to, so we were trying to calculate the number of countries, right, as a percentage. So we'll say that, hey, the first variable is NA. We'll say that, hey, calculate number of quotas. That's an expression. And for the filter, we'll say that, hey, if we'll just try to look for the country column here. So if this is not equal to NA, give me those matching rows. That is exactly what we are telling. So this particular variable is ready. In the return statement, it's a pretty simple thing. We'll use divide function and we'll use the number of quotas here. So we have those options. So number of quotas as the numerator, and for the denominator, we'll use the NA and close the parentheses and commit to it and format it into percentage. So we have this particular measure also ready. So next thing is pretty simple, right? We have to create a bar chart. So what we could do is we can just go to the visual and try to drag the clustered bar chart onto the canvas and increase the size. And for the x-axis and y-axis, we have to pass the values, right? So for the y-axis, we already know that we have to use the country column. So let us try to look for the country, drag it onto the y-axis. And for the x-axis, we have just created the measure percentage of countries. So let us try to drag that onto the x-axis. So we have our visual ready, right? It's pretty good, but we are not done yet. So because those are top 10 countries, what we have seen in this website, Stack Overflow. So we can add data labels here. Let me drag that particular visual onto the canvas. So let us try to exclude NA here in the visual itself. We can do that, right click and exclude. And like I said, we have to grab only the 10, right? Top 10 countries as shown in the visual. So what we could do is we can go to the filter options. So let us try to use the drop down button on the country, go to top N, we'll type in 10 here, and by value is the percentage of countries. So apply filter and we have the visual ready. It's a pretty simple thing, right? So we can do all those bells and whistles too. So we can add the color and etc. So more or less these values are matching up, at least in this case, right, for this visual. So as you can see here, this is on the left hand side is the web page visual, and the right hand side is our Power BI visual. So it's more or less it's matching up, and we can add a little bit color. We can use create a new measure or probably use the gradient here. So we'll just try to make sure that the visual is a little bit colorful. So you can have a separate measure also, conditional formatting, but I just wanted to keep it, I'm trying to keep it simple. So this is pretty cool, right? I think we have USA, Germany, India, UK, Ukraine. So those values are matching up pretty good. We can always clear it up, this particular report page. So we have created those visuals, so it's pretty easy. So I've cleaned it up. I've added those text boxes for the left hand side, all those 4 visuals, and we have the bar chart too on the right side. It's pretty good. It's almost matching. The values are matching to the web page visuals, the Stack Overflow web page visuals. So This is pretty neat, so it's always a good idea to work on any kind of new data and try to understand the data set. And if you have any research questions, try to look through the data. If you understand the data, then we can create a more meaningful pages, right? So that's pretty important. I always want anybody who is learning any particular new tool, if they are learning, so they have to understand the data, so that they can use the full functionality of Power BI, so that the reports will make sense, right? So I have added the number of coders to the details. I can remove that here. So we can add more things too. It's a very simplified version, this report page. So let me compare them. So the values are almost matching. There might be any differences between our values and the Stack Overflow values, because like I said, they have used certain filters, so they have the access to the data, right? So I'm not sure what kind of filters they have used, but my own thing is that I've tried to look through the data and try to use the values which we wanted, right? So if we go back to the website, and this is the survey results analysis, what they have done. If you click on any of those things, you'll be taken to a new visual pane. Here, as you can see, we have various tabs here for all respondents, professional developers, and learning to code, etc. So they have divided all those into different sections. So as you go scroll through the web site and the analysis, they have separate visuals for all those sections. So we could do that. We can, maybe if time permits, I'll try to do that in our case. So we can replicate them. We can use some concept called as bookmarks. So most of you might know about bookmarks, but in this case, in this video, I'm not trying to attempt that. Maybe at a future date, if time permits, I can do that. So if you go back and click on, say, bookmarks there on the right, we can go and look at the bookmarks. So if you just go back there, click on bookmarks, we can add. So on the bottom, you can see, you can learn how to create and edit bookmarks. It's not pretty difficult for somebody who has not used bookmarks to learn those concepts. It takes a little bit of practice. So once you have the practice, you can use bookmarks effectively, so that if you want to create all those visuals which are there in the website, you can do that. And it's a pretty simple thing. Like, again, let me just drag that window here. So you can go ahead and try to work on them. If time permits, I'll also create them. But if not, maybe it's a good practice for you to learn bookmarks concepts. There are various videos on YouTube. You can try to learn those concepts too. So it's, I mean, the only idea is we just wanted to use a real world data set and tackle any kind of research questions. So we have used minimum DAX code, and we have looked at one visual page website, and we have created those 5 visuals. So it's pretty easy for us to understand, and this is one of the ways one could learn more concepts. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.